I don't know why I didn't say anything at first. Maybe it was the shock. Maybe I just didn't want to believe it. It was an ordinary Saturday afternoon. The kind where nothing stands out. No drama. No hint of the storm that was coming. My wife, Amanda, was sitting across from me at the kitchen table, sipping her coffee like everything was normal. She always did that, took her time with the little things. Coffee in hand, scrolling through her phone, tapping at the screen with that precise rhythm that always made her seem so in control. But something was different that day. I didn't know what it was, but it hit me like a slap in the face when she said it, as casually as if she were commenting on the weather. Honestly, I'm kind of impressed with myself, she said, her voice soft but with an unmistakable edge of smugness. She didn't even look at me. I've been playing both of you for a while now. You've been so predictable, it's almost funny. I didn't respond immediately. I just stared at her. This wasn't a joke. I could tell by the way she said it. The way she wasn't even flinching. She didn't care. I had my suspicions. I'd seen the late nights, the secretive texts, the missing calls. But to hear her say it so bluntly, like she was proud of it, I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw the coffee mug in her face, demand answers, throw everything in her face. But instead, I stayed silent. I wasn't sure why. I guess in that moment, I needed to hear more. I needed to see how far she was willing to go. So what now? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. The words felt like they were choking me. I could feel my pulse in my throat. Are you done with your little game? Or should I wait for the next move? Amanda finally looked at me. Her eyes narrowed, and for a second, I saw something sharp and calculated. She knew. She knew I was onto her. I mean, it's kind of thrilling, don't you think? She said, almost to herself. How easy it is to manipulate two people at once. And you're both so trusting. You're exactly what I needed at exactly the right time. It's like you don't even care about what's happening behind your back. You just keep going on with your lives, oblivious. It's almost sad. A cold shiver ran down my spine. How long had she been doing this? How long had I been in the dark, walking around like a fool? The woman I married, the woman I trusted with my life, had been lying to my face, living some twisted double life, and she was enjoying it. You really think it's that easy? I said, trying to keep my composure, though I could feel my hands shaking. That I wouldn't notice? That I wouldn't figure it out? Her lips curled into a smile, the kind of smile I hadn't seen in months. It wasn't warm. It wasn't loving. It was cold. And it was everything I needed to see. Oh, I knew you'd figure it out eventually. But the fun part is watching you pretend like you don't know. Like you're okay with it. It's like watching a play where everyone knows the ending except the main character. She leaned back in her chair, crossing her arms. You're too predictable, too easy. You never asked the right questions. You just let me keep playing my little role. I gave you just enough to keep you satisfied. I never needed to give more. A sick laugh escaped her. You really thought I was going to be some perfect, loyal wife, didn't you? She continued, eyes sparkling with a wicked amusement. But I'm not. I'm just a woman who knows what she wants and how to get it. And now here we are. I felt like I was suffocating. How could she say this with such ease? With such detachment? How had we gotten here? How had I been so blind? I didn't respond. I couldn't. My mind was running a mile a minute, piecing everything together. The trips she went on that I didn't question. The mysterious business dinners that never seemed to end on time. The late-night work calls that weren't work at all. The random nights when she'd come home smelling like someone else's cologne. How had I been so stupid? But I didn't ask her any of those questions. Not yet. Instead, I just sat there, taking it all in. Watching her. She wanted me to react, to yell, to lose control. But I wasn't going to give her that satisfaction. No, I was going to sit in silence and watch her unravel her own lies. If she thought she was playing both of us, well, I'd let her finish her little performance. Because I was done being the fool. And the best part? She didn't even see it coming. She sat there, sipping her coffee, like she hadn't just shattered everything I thought I knew about her. Like she hadn't just casually dropped the bomb that she'd been sleeping with someone else for months, maybe longer. The room felt cold, even though it was a warm day outside. I could feel the weight of the silence pressing down on me. It was almost like I wasn't even in my own body. I didn't know what to do next. Part of me wanted to explode, to demand answers, to ask her how she could do this to me. But another part of me, a darker part, just wanted to watch her, to see how far she would go with this little charade she had started. You're really enjoying this, aren't you? I finally said. My voice was steady, more steady than I felt. Playing both of us, making us think you're this perfect wife, and then throwing it all away like it doesn't matter. Amanda's eyes gleamed. There was a satisfaction in her gaze that made my skin crawl. It's not like you haven't been playing your part, Callum, she said, leaning forward slightly. You act like I'm the only one hiding something. Like you haven't been playing along too. You know exactly what I'm doing. You're just too scared to admit it to yourself. The words stung, and I hated that she was right. I had known. I hadn't wanted to face it, but deep down, I knew. And I'd let it go, brushing it off like it was nothing. I sat there in that uncomfortable silence, realizing that every little thing she'd done, every little lie she'd told me, had been part of this carefully constructed act. She wasn't just cheating. She was playing me. And worse, she was enjoying every second of it. I'm not scared, I said, my voice sharper now. I'm just trying to decide how I want to deal with this. Amanda raised an eyebrow. You think you can control this? You think you can just decide how it ends? For the first time, I saw a flicker of doubt in her eyes. Just a flicker, like a shadow passing through her. I don't think she expected me to react like this. She thought I would crumble, that I would beg her to stay, to apologize, to fix it. But she wasn't getting that from me. I don't need to control anything, I said, standing up. I've just been waiting for the right moment to make my move. You've been so good at playing both sides, but you've forgotten one thing. What's that? She asked, her tone dripping with arrogance. That I've been watching you, I said quietly, stepping closer to her. Every step you've taken, every little lie you've told. I've been watching, and I'm done being your fool. Her face faltered for just a moment. A brief second where I saw the true Amanda. Not the one she played for me, not the one she played for him, but the woman who knew the game was up. But then, as quickly as it came, that moment was gone. She smirked again, like she was the one in control, like I was still the clueless husband, sitting in front of her, unable to do anything. You think you have the upper hand now? She asked, almost laughing. You think I'm scared of you? No, I said, shaking my head. But I think you should be scared of me when I finally stop playing along. I turned and walked out of the room, leaving her sitting there, watching me with those calculating eyes. I didn't know what would happen next, but I knew one thing for sure. I wasn't going to let her keep controlling the narrative anymore. The game was on now, and I wasn't going to be the one on the sidelines. The days after that conversation were a blur. I didn't confront her again. Not immediately. Something inside me told me I needed to sit back, watch, let her think she was still playing me. Let her think I was in the dark, just like I had been for months. She started acting like everything was normal again. She cooked dinner, made small talk, kissed me on the cheek before she left for work. The facade was back in place, but it felt so thin, so fragile. I could feel the cracks, the tension in the air. Every word she spoke, every movement she made, felt like a performance, one I was no longer interested in participating in. But I wasn't the only one playing a game. She didn't know it yet, but I had been watching her more closely than ever. I knew when she was lying, when she was being too casual, too nonchalant. It was like I could hear the words between the ones she actually spoke. And that's when I started putting pieces together. It was Friday night, the usual time she went out with the girls. She told me it was a happy hour, a quick drink with some colleagues. I didn't ask any more questions. I knew she'd be back late. But this time, I didn't stay home. I didn't wait around like some fool. I waited until she left the house. Then I followed her. Not in a creepy, obsessive way, but just enough to see where she was really going. I had a sinking feeling that she wasn't meeting her friends at all. She drove, like she always did, to the same place she'd been going for weeks. A small, upscale hotel on the edge of town. I parked a few blocks away, trying to stay out of sight. I didn't need to follow her inside. I knew what was happening. She wasn't just meeting anyone there. She was meeting him, Jules. I had known for a while. Her phone was filled with messages from him, but I didn't need to see any more. I had seen enough. I waited for an hour, just sitting in the car, my heart pounding in my chest. The anger was there, but it was a slow burn now. I wasn't angry at her, not entirely. I was angry at myself. Angry that I had let this happen. Angry that I had allowed myself to be played for so long. When she finally walked out of the hotel with Jules, her arm casually linked through his, I felt something in me snap. But it wasn't rage. It was something else. Something colder. Something that told me I had been too blind for too long. I watched them. watched her laugh at something he said, watched her lean into him, her face soft and content. She hadn't even looked back to see if I was watching. She didn't care. And for a moment, I just wanted to walk away, to forget it all and go home, forget everything I knew. But I didn't. I couldn't. I stayed in my car, hands gripping the wheel so tightly my knuckles turned white. I had a decision to make. I could walk away from this mess and let it all go. Or I could let her finish her performance. Let her think she was in control. But that wouldn't be fair. Not to me. Not to us. She had crossed a line, and she needed to know I saw it. When I got home later that night, Simone was already in bed, her back turned to me. She hadn't noticed that I was gone. She hadn't noticed that I had seen everything. I stood there in the doorway for a few moments, watching her breathe quietly, her body still and peaceful. It would have been so easy to slip back into that comfort, that illusion of normality. But I couldn't anymore. Not after everything I'd seen. I pulled the chair in the corner of the room, close to the bed, and sat down. I didn't speak at first. I just let her sleep, letting the silence stretch between us. It felt like 1,000 miles. 100 different lives I could have lived. When I finally spoke, my voice was steady. You've been playing both of us, haven't you? She didn't move at first, but I could feel her body stiffen. Then, very slowly, she turned over, her eyes wide and full of surprise. You followed me? She whispered, almost as if she couldn't believe it. I nodded slowly. I did. I saw everything. You think I didn't know? You think I didn't see the signs? But you know what? I'll let you think I was stupid. I'll let you think I was blind. But I'm not. She stayed silent, her face betraying nothing but a slight flicker of guilt. But that was all. I'm done with the games, Simone. I continued, my voice a little louder now. You've made your choice. And so have I. You can keep pretending, but I'm not playing along anymore. For the first time, I saw something shift in her eyes. It wasn't regret. It wasn't sorrow. It was something else, something I couldn't quite name. But I didn't care anymore. I wasn't the fool anymore. I watched her face closely after I spoke. She didn't react immediately. Her eyes darted around the room, like she was searching for the right words. But there weren't any. Not anymore. You think I don't know what you've been doing? I said, my voice low. You think you've kept me in the dark this whole time? You're wrong, Simone. I've been watching you. And now I know what's been going on. She swallowed hard, but still, she didn't say anything. She didn't apologize. Didn't try to explain herself. It was almost like she had already given up on even trying to hide it. I didn't want to believe it. I continued, pacing back and forth. But then I started to see the cracks, the lies. And I can't keep pretending like I didn't notice. Like I wasn't being played the whole time. Her face remained expressionless, but I could see the slightest tremor in her hands. She reached out for the glass of water on the nightstand, but her grip was unsteady. You've been lying to me, I said, letting the words sink in. And all this time, I've been the fool, thinking we were something real. But no, you've been playing both of us, like we're some kind of game. And it ends tonight. That was when her mask finally cracked. She blinked, her breath catching in her throat. For the first time, I saw a hint of fear in her eyes. Callum, please, she started, her voice shaky. But I wasn't done. No more excuses, Simone, I said. I've heard enough. You don't get to just walk away from this. You don't get to play both sides and pretend nothing's wrong. I could see her struggling with herself, trying to come up with something, anything, to salvage the situation. But there was nothing left. The truth was out, and it was too late. I stepped closer to the bed, looking down at her. You've made your choice. And now I'm going to make mine. She tried to say something, but the words got caught in her throat. She opened her mouth, then closed it again. She wasn't the confident, manipulative woman I had known. She was just lost. I'm done, I said quietly. You think this is the end for me? No. This is just the beginning. You won't get to walk away from this unscathed. Not anymore. The silence between us stretched thin, and for a moment, I thought she might say something. Apologize, maybe. Anything to take the sting out of the truth. But she didn't. Simone just stared at me, her face pale, eyes wide, like a deer caught in headlights. There was no remorse. No pleading. Just shock. You can't just walk away from this, Simone. You don't get to act like everything's fine, like you didn't destroy everything we've built. I could feel the anger rising in my chest, but I wasn't yelling. I didn't need to. My words were sharp enough. She finally spoke, her voice hoarse, as though she couldn't quite find the right words. Callum, please. This isn't what you think. No. No more excuses. I interrupted. I watched you with him. I saw the way you looked at him. And I'm done pretending. You've been lying to me for so long, playing this game, acting like I wouldn't notice. But I did. I always knew. She closed her eyes, like the weight of my words was finally hitting her. I didn't mean for it to get this far. Her voice trembled, but there was no sincerity in it. The apology was weak, desperate, nothing more than a last attempt to salvage whatever shred of control she had left. You didn't mean for it to get this far? I repeated, incredulous. You've been planning this for months, Simone, and now you're telling me it wasn't intentional? She shifted uncomfortably in the bed, clearly avoiding my gaze. I didn't want to hurt you. I never wanted to hurt you. I just what? Just thought you could keep it all hidden? Keep both of us happy? My voice grew colder with every word. You thought you could play both of us like we were some kind of game? 1 minute, you're the perfect wife, and the next, you're with him. How long have you been doing this, Simone? How long has this affair been going on? Her silence was all the answer I needed. It confirmed everything. I wasn't angry anymore. Not in the way I'd thought I'd be. No, what I felt was something much worse, betrayal. And the deeper I looked, the worse it got. My hands were shaking, but not out of rage. I was trembling because I was finally seeing Simone for who she truly was. Not the woman I'd married. Not the person I thought I knew. I gave you everything. I whispered, almost to myself. I trusted you. And you just threw it away like it meant nothing. Her lips parted, but the words didn't come. She didn't have a defense. How could she? She knew she couldn't talk her way out of this. It was too far gone. For a few long moments, there was nothing but the sound of her shallow breathing and the pounding of my own heart in my ears. She had played the game well, but I was done being the pawn. I walked over to the nightstand and picked up her phone, the one she'd left carelessly on the dresser. It had been buzzing nonstop the entire evening, but I hadn't touched it until now. I turned it over in my hand, contemplating what I was about to do. Simone's eyes flicked to it, and I saw the panic in her face. Callum, don't. But it was too late. I unlocked the phone, swiping through the messages. They were just as I expected. Flirty texts, jokes, plans for the weekend. I stared at one of them for a long time. I can't wait to see you again. This thing between us, it feels real. I let out a bitter laugh. Does he make you feel real, Simone? Does he make you feel alive? Her eyes welled up with tears, but I wasn't interested in her tears anymore. Stop crying. You're not sorry. You're sorry you got caught, but you're not sorry for what you've done. She reached out to take the phone from me, but I pulled it away, glaring at her. No, you don't get to hide behind that anymore. I set the phone down on the nightstand with deliberate force. The sound echoed through the room like a final declaration of war. Are you going to keep lying? I asked. Or are you finally going to admit what you've done? Because I'm done playing this game with you. She remained silent for what felt like an eternity, her gaze locked on the phone. I could see the guilt in her eyes now, clearer than ever before. It wasn't regret for the affair. No, it was regret for the fact that I was no longer the fool she could manipulate. I never meant to hurt you, Callum, she whispered, her voice barely audible. I swear. But the words fell flat. The damage was done. I could hear the faint trembling of her voice, but it didn't matter. I was done. You've already hurt me more than you'll ever understand, I said, my voice thick with finality. And I'm done pretending that this, you, is something I want to fix. She opened her mouth to speak again, but I held up my hand, silencing her. Save your apologies, Simone. I'm done with you, and you're done with me. The silence between us hung thick, almost suffocating. Simone was still sitting on the bed, her hands twisting in her lap, eyes darting between me and the door. I could see the panic in her eyes, the realization that she had lost control of everything. She tried again, weakly. Callum, I never meant for this to happen. I didn't want it to get this far. You have to believe me. Her voice wavered, but I wasn't buying it anymore. She wasn't sorry for the affair. She was sorry that I wasn't the same man who would forgive her just because she asked. She was sorry that she couldn't manipulate me anymore. You didn't want it to get this far? I said, crossing my arms. But it did. It's too late now, Simone. Don't try to twist this. You chose this. You chose him. You chose lying. You thought you could keep me in the dark, and you were wrong. Her eyes dropped to the floor, and for a moment, I thought she might finally get it. But then, her voice came again, softer, almost pleading. I know I messed up. I was confused. I didn't know what I wanted. But I love you, Callum. I do. The words hung in the air, but they were hollow. Empty. She didn't love me, not in the way I thought. She loved the comfort I provided. The safety net. I wasn't a man to her anymore. I was just a pawn in her game. You love me. I repeated, almost laughing. Then why'd you go behind my back, Simone? Why'd you betray everything we built together? She flinched at the question, but I wasn't giving her the satisfaction of seeing me falter. I don't want to hear any more of your excuses, I said, my voice firm. I'm done. You can't make this right, not with words. Her face twisted, the first sign of anger I had seen from her. You're just going to walk away from this? After everything we've been through? You think you're just going to end it like this? I stared at her, the weight of everything she had done sinking in. You ended this, Simone. Not me. I'm just the one who finally sees it. She opened her mouth to say something else, but I cut her off. It's over. I'm done. I turned and walked out of the room, not looking back. I thought I'd walk away, that I'd finally be able to put this behind me. But as I stepped into the hallway, her voice followed me. Callum, please, don't leave like this. I paused at the door, not because I wanted to hear what she had to say, but because the weight of it all was still settling in. The reality of the betrayal. The years of lies and manipulation. I hadn't fully processed it all. Turning slowly, I looked at her. She was standing in the doorway, her face pale, eyes wide with desperation. She had never looked so small, so fragile. I'd always thought of her as strong, confident. But now, she was broken. Please, don't walk away from everything we've had, she begged, her voice trembling. I wanted to tell her that she was wrong, that what we had was no longer something worth saving. But the words wouldn't come. Instead, I shook my head, my throat tightening. You've already walked away, Simone. Long before I caught you. She stepped toward me, reaching for my hand, but I pulled away instinctively. Don't touch me, I said, my voice cold. You lost that right the moment you decided to betray me. Her eyes filled with tears, and for the first time, I could see a flicker of remorse. But it was too late. You don't understand, she said, her voice breaking. I didn't want this to happen. It wasn't supposed to end like this. I thought I could have both. I stared at her, shocked. Both? You thought you could have me and him? You thought you could keep lying and manipulating me like I wouldn't care? I didn't think you'd ever find out, she said, the words spilling out in a rush. I thought I could keep it hidden, keep you both happy. I never wanted to hurt you, Callum. I swear, I didn't want to ruin everything. I shook my head again, a bitter laugh escaping. You don't get it, do you? It's not about me not finding out. It's about you thinking I wouldn't care. Thinking I'd just keep going, playing along with your little game. She was silent now, eyes wide with realization, but I wasn't finished. You used me, Simone, I said, my voice raw. You used me to feel secure, to have someone you could rely on while you went behind my back with him. And I let you. I let you manipulate me because I was too afraid to see the truth. But now I see everything. I see you for who you really are. Her face crumpled in disbelief, her hands shaking as she backed away from me. I'm sorry, Callum. I really am. But I need you. I need you to forgive me. I can't forgive you, I said, the words feeling like a weight off my chest. Not this. Not after everything. The trust is gone, Simone. And once that's gone, there's nothing left. She stood there for a moment, looking at me like she was hoping I'd change my mind. But I didn't. I couldn't. Please, she whispered, her voice barely audible. Give me another chance. I'll do whatever it takes to fix this. Please don't leave me. I could see the desperation in her eyes, the raw vulnerability that had once drawn me to her. But that version of her, the one I thought I knew, was gone. And I couldn't pretend anymore. I'm not the one who walked away, I said, my voice steady but firm. You did that a long time ago. I turned and walked out, leaving her standing there, the sound of her faint sobs echoing behind me. It's strange, the weight that lifts off your shoulders when you stop trying to fix something that was never meant to be fixed. I left that night. I walked away from Simone, from everything we had, and it felt like a weight had been lifted. But not the kind of relief I expected. It wasn't joy, not yet. It was more like the quiet satisfaction that comes with finally making the hard choice, the right choice. The following days were a blur. I packed my things, moved out, and settled into a new apartment. It wasn't grand, but it was mine. It wasn't perfect, but it was a fresh start. I spent weeks finding my rhythm again, remembering what it felt like to live for myself, to stop making excuses for someone else's actions. Simone reached out. Texts, emails, voicemails, each one more desperate than the last. She apologized over and over, begged for another chance, even though I had already told her that the trust was gone. But I didn't respond. I couldn't. I was done. I had a new focus now. A few months went by, and I finally started feeling like myself again. I focused on work, started exercising, and even took up an old hobby I had dropped years ago, painting. It wasn't much, but it was a way to keep my mind off the past. Then, one afternoon, I ran into her. Simone. She looked the same, maybe a little more tired, a little less confident, but she still had that look in her eyes, the one that tried so hard to mask the cracks. She was with him, Jules. I had known it was coming. They'd probably been together since the day I walked out. But seeing it in person, seeing her with him like that, made something inside me snap back into place. I stopped walking, watching them as they laughed, heads leaning together, completely oblivious to me standing just a few feet away. She glanced over her shoulder and froze when she saw me. Her face fell, but Jules didn't notice. I walked up slowly, not rushing, just letting the scene sink in. She looked uncomfortable, like she wasn't sure how to react. But I was done with uncertainty. I was done with her games. "Hey, Simone," I said, my voice calm. "How's everything going?" She tried to smile, but it was stiff, forced. "Callum, I didn't expect to see you here." "Yeah, I'm sure you didn't," I replied, my gaze flicking to Jules. He was looking at me now, confusion in his eyes. I turned to him, extending a hand. "Jules, right? We've never met, but I'm Callum." His eyes flickered between Simone and me, unsure of what to make of the situation. He shook my hand, but it felt like nothing. A hollow gesture. "You've been with her for a while now, haven't you?" I asked, the question hanging in the air. Simone's face flushed a deep red. Jules hesitated, then nodded. "Yeah, we've been seeing each other for a bit." I could see the confusion, the tension building, but I wasn't going to let this moment slip away. "You should know, Jules, that Simone's been playing you both. She's been lying to you, just like she lied to me." Simone's face turned pale, but I didn't care anymore. I wasn't angry, I was just done. "You're both in the same boat now," I continued, looking at both of them. "And as much as she's been crying and begging for forgiveness, there's no turning back. There never was." Simone's eyes filled with tears, but I turned away before she could say anything more. I didn't need to hear it. I didn't need the apologies. As I walked away, I felt something I hadn't in a long time. Relief. Peace. I had let go of the past. And as for Simone, I had no more room for her in my life. The truth always comes out, and she had to live with that. Karma has a funny way of working. She thought she could play me and Jules. She thought she could keep two men in the dark and walk away unscathed. But the truth always catches up. And as I moved forward with my life, I knew one thing for certain. I had done the hardest thing I could. I had let her go. And now, I was finally free.